Her name echoes through the darkest corners of European folklore, synonymous with unimaginable cruelty and a macabre legend whispered for centuries. She is Elizabeth Báthory, the Blood Countess, and her story is a chilling journey into the abyss of human depravity, or perhaps the profound depths of historical deception. Welcome to Echoes of Time, your portal to the forgotten pages of history, where we reveal the secrets that lie under the dust of centuries. Tonight, we unearth a legacy so horrifying, so deeply embedded in the collective consciousness that it challenges our understanding of truth itself. Was Elizabeth Báthory a monstrous serial killer, a creature of aristocratic depravity, said to be bathed in the blood of virgins to preserve her youth? Or was she, as some claim, a tragic figure, a victim ensnared by political intrigue and the crushing misogyny of a tumultuous age? For generations, her name has been a byword for terror, her tale a dark fairy tale that refuses to fade. We stand at the precipice of a historical enigma, compelled to question everything we thought we knew about this legendary figure and the forbidden secrets she took to her grave. Our journey begins in the heart of 16th century Hungary, a landscape dominated by powerful noble families, where lineage and influence shaped destinies. It was into one such family, among the most formidable of her time, that Elizabeth Báthory was born. Her early life, as documented, offered no hint, no precursor, no shadow of the dark legend she would inevitably become. There was no overt sign that this noblewoman would one day be etched into history as one of its most reviled figures. The initial chapters of her life were those of privilege and power, a life seemingly destined for prominence, not infamy. Yet, as the calendar turned into the early 17th century, a sinister transformation began to unfold, not just in Bathory's life, but in the whispers that started to circulate through the Hungarian lands. From within the formidable walls of her ancestral stronghold, Csejte Castle, rumors of heinous tortures and unspeakable murders began to spread. Like a disease, these whispers grew, gaining momentum, their macabre details becoming ever more gruesome with each retelling. It was not long before these dark tales escalated beyond mere gossip, demanding official attention. In the year 1610, the escalating accusations reached a critical point. An official investigation was launched, piercing through the veil of aristocratic immunity that typically shielded such powerful figures. The culmination of this inquiry was her swift arrest. The charges levied against Elizabeth Báthory were nothing short of shocking. She stood accused of torturing and systematically killing hundreds of young women within her castle walls. The sheer scale of the alleged atrocities was staggering, placing her firmly in the annals of Europe's darkest history. From that moment, her story was solidified, at least in the popular narrative. It was presented as a clear-cut, unambiguous case of aristocratic depravity, a horrifying testament to unchecked power and a deeply disturbed psyche. Her name became synonymous with unimaginable cruelty, cementing her place as, arguably, the most prolific female serial killer in history. This terrifying image of the Blood Countess, a title that would forever haunt her legacy, was thus born, and it has persisted largely unchallenged for centuries. But is this the complete truth? Or is this chilling portrait merely a convenient facade, obscuring a far more intricate and troubling reality? At Echoes of Time, we delve into the past to better understand the present, and in doing so, we often find that the dust of centuries conceals not a single clear narrative, but a mosaic of conflicting interpretations. The saga of Elizabeth Báthory is a prime example of such historical fragmentation, a tapestry woven with threads of fact, speculation, and calculated deception. Historians and researchers, despite centuries of inquiry, remain profoundly divided on her true nature and the events that led to her downfall. The question of her guilt is not a settled matter. It is an ongoing debate, a battleground of evidence and interpretation. One school of thought argues, with compelling conviction, that the sheer volume of testimonies gathered against Bathory, coupled with the gruesome and consistent details of her alleged crimes, point unmistakably to her guilt. For these scholars, the evidence is overwhelming, painting a portrait of a deeply disturbed psyche, a woman whose unchecked power, born of her immense noble standing, fueled an insatiable appetite for cruelty. They contend that the accounts of torture and murder were too numerous, too consistent across different witnesses to be entirely fabricated. This perspective positions her as precisely what legend proclaims, a monstrous serial killer whose actions transcended the boundaries of even the brutal norms of her era. The stories, they argue, are not mere folklore, but dark echoes of humanity's capacity for evil. However, a profoundly different perspective emerges when we consider the intricate web of 17th century European politics, a world rife with ambition, religious strife, and the ruthless pursuit of wealth. This theory proposes that Elizabeth Báthory was not a monster by nature, but a tragic figure, a political pawn expertly maneuvered into a devastating trap. Her vast landholdings, immense wealth, and, perhaps crucially, her Protestant faith in a predominantly Catholic-dominated region made her an irresistibly convenient target. Powerful Catholic rivals, eager to expand their own influence and seize her rich estates, would have seen an opportunity. Adding to this volatile mix was King Matthias II, who, it is widely believed, owed Bathory a significant and burdensome debt. The accusations, from this viewpoint, could have been cunningly exaggerated or even entirely fabricated, serving as a meticulously constructed pretext to seize her wealth, neutralize her influence, and eliminate a troublesome Protestant noblewoman. The narrative of her depravity, therefore, becomes a calculated weapon wielded by those who stood to gain the most from her downfall. It was a story designed to demonize, to justify the unjustifiable, and to rewrite history in the service of power. A third, nuanced perspective seeks a middle ground, acknowledging elements of both preceding theories while challenging the most sensational aspects of her legend. This viewpoint suggests that while Elizabeth Báthory may indeed have been a cruel mistress, a characteristic not entirely uncommon among the nobility of her era, a time when authority was often absolute and discipline harsh, the more supernatural and grotesque elements of her story were likely later embellishments. The infamous claim of her bathing in the blood of virgins to preserve her youth, for instance, is seen by these historians as a macabre addition, crafted over time to sensationalize her story and further demonize a powerful woman. Such tales, they argue, served not only to make her a more compelling villain for subsequent generations, but also stripped her of any shred of humanity, making it easier to accept the narrative of pure evil. This perspective challenges us to separate the potential historical reality of a harsh noblewoman from the fantastical elements woven into her legend, revealing how folklore can distort and amplify historical figures for dramatic effect. It reminds us that history is often shaped not just by events, but by how those events are later told and retold. To distinguish fact from fiction in such a deeply layered saga, modern historians and researchers embark on a painstaking journey. They sift through fragmented evidence, poring over contemporary accounts, legal documents, and personal correspondences that have survived the ravages of time. Each scrap of information is meticulously analyzed, cross-referenced, and placed within its broader historical context. The challenge lies in deciphering the true intent behind these ancient texts. Were they objective reports, or were they tainted by the biases, political agendas, and social prejudices of their creators? Modern analyses also employ interdisciplinary approaches, examining the psychology of power, the social structures of 17th century Hungary, and the mechanisms of rumor and propaganda. They scrutinize the motivations of accusers, the reliability of witnesses, and the judicial processes of a distant era. Yet, even with all these tools, the profound division among scholars persists. There is no definitive, universally accepted conclusion. The true narrative remains obscured, shrouded by the layers of deceit, the relentless pursuit of power, and the complex historical interpretations that have accumulated over centuries. Every discovery, every new reading of an old document is an echo, sometimes clear, sometimes distorted, of humanity's great history. It's a continuous attempt to piece together a puzzle where many crucial pieces are forever lost, or perhaps never truly existed in the form we imagine. So we return to the chilling core of our mystery. Who was Elizabeth Báthory? Was she truly a monstrous serial killer, the embodiment of evil, bathing in blood to retain her youth? Or was she a victim of a ruthless political game, her name and reputation sacrificed on the altar of ambition and greed? Perhaps she was a cruel mistress, but one whose story was grotesquely exaggerated, transforming a harsh reality into a macabre fairy tale that would forever brand her as the Blood Countess. The forbidden secrets she took to her grave remain locked away, lost to the passage of time. We are left with a legacy of unsettling questions, a tapestry of conflicting narratives, and a profound realization of how history itself can be manipulated, distorted, and rewritten. The story of Elizabeth Báthory forces us to confront not only the darkness that may reside in the human heart, but also the insidious power of political machination and the enduring human tendency to demonize those who stand in the way. It's a stark reminder that the pages of history are seldom as clean-cut as they appear, often obscured by the dust of centuries and the shadows of powerful agendas. As we journey through the ages, seeking to better understand the present through the echoes of the past, the saga of the Blood Countess stands as a potent cautionary tale. It challenges us to question every legend, to scrutinize every accusation, and to look beyond the sensational to find the elusive truth. What does the enduring mystery of Elizabeth Báthory tell us about our own understanding of justice, power, and the narratives we choose to believe, even today?